guys, and welcome back. Apparently, you couldn't live without knowing the answer. So, this is the Blue Food Gates Part 2, and the critical thinking question is why did it happen to them? Before I go on, let me give credit to who it is due. This beautiful picture was done by Walt Splitzmiller. Anyways, I'll give you guys some time to figure out why this happened to them. If you think you know the answer or you just got stuck and you want to find out, be sure to continue on. If you wanted some time to think, give yourself some time to think, and when you're ready, hit play. So, what you see here is methemoglobinemia has a occurrence in the population prevalence of 0.3035%. So that's pretty rare right there, right? And so why did this happen to this family? Well, there's something called the Hardy-Weinberg principle. And so what happens is you can use this formula to kind of figure things out. So what you have is you have two genes. You have a P and you have a Q. And so these are two different alleles in the population. So what we're going to do is we're going to say P is your normal gene. Q is the gene that's causing methemoglobinemia, right? And so what's going to happen is you can break this down a couple of ways. So Q squared is going to be the frequency of people having methemoglobinemia in the population. P squared is going to be the frequency of people that are totally normal in the population. They don't carry the gene whatsoever. All right, 2PQ is going to be the frequency of your carriers, right? So they have the messed up gene, but they're not blue, right? And so that's what you got right there. So going down right here, once again, that Q squared is the frequency of the carrier, people that have the gene right there, that are flat out sick, they're blue and everything else. And so if we wanted to know the frequency of Q just having the gene, whether or not you're a carrier or whether or not you're flat out sick, you're just going to take the square root of that, right? And so what that's going to give us is a frequency of 1.8%, right? Or put it into decimal format, 0.0187, right? Anyways, what's going to be the frequency of the normal gene? Well, you just take a 1 and subtract this 0.187 from that, and you get 0.9813. Put it another way, you have a 98.3% chance of having at least one normal gene, right? That's the frequency of that normal gene in the population. All right, so what's the chance of being totally normal, not having any messed up gene with regards to this hemoglobin? Well, you just multiply 98.13 by itself, right? And so you're going to get a 96% chance of not even being a carrier, not having methemoglobinemia whatsoever. So what's your chance of being a carrier? Well, I just multiply my chance of having a normal gene, which is 0.9813, by my chance of having that messed up gene, 0.0187, all right, and I multiply that by 2, and so I get it's pretty low percent chance, right? So decimal format is going to be 0.036, right? Or put into a percentage, about 3%, right? Well, then, if the chance of me being a carrier is 3.6% chance, and the chance of my wife being a carrier is 0.36% chance, what's the chance of these random people meeting and marrying? Well, the chance would be about 0.13%. Put another way, out of every 10,000 people that get married, 13 of them are both going to be carriers. So you'll get 13 marriages out of 10,000 where both of them will be carriers. So pretty rare, right? And so once again, why did this happen to this family? Well, it could be by sheer chance. That's going to happen to somebody, right? But more likely is that they were related. So if you were to marry your first degree relative, so that's going to be your parents, your children, your siblings, stuff like that, you have about a 50% chance of marrying somebody that's carrying the same messed up gene as you are, right? In this case, the genes for methemoglobinemia. Well, what about a second degree relative? Well, what's a second degree relative? Your aunt, uncle, grandparents, niece, nephew, or grandkids. So you have about a 1 in 4 chance of having the same genes that they do, right? The same gene that they do. All right, third degree relative. All right, so that would be your first cousin. And so you're going to share a 1 in 8 chance. Well, that's still a lot higher than what you'd expect in the general population. All right, second degree cousins. All right, now you're looking at a 6.25% chance. Well, what's a second degree cousin? So that would be you and your cousins both have children. And so those children would be second degree cousins. All right, third degree cousin, you got a 3.12% chance. All right, and so what is that? Well, that would be you and your cousins both have grandkids and they marry. Those grandkids would be third degree cousins, right? Would be a third cousin. And so that's a 3% chance. All right, a fourth cousin. So you and your cousins have great grandkids, right? There'd be fourth degree cousins. If they married, they'd have 1.56% chance of having the same messed up gene. All right, fifth cousin. All right, 0.78% chance of having the same messed up gene. Sixth cousin, 0.39% chance of having the same messed up gene. Seventh cousin, 0.19% chance of having the same messed up gene. Eighth cousin, you're now at the baseline risk for this particular disease, right? And so, yeah, that would be your great, 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 great grandkids for both you and your cousin marry, right? And that would be their risk of having a child with this disorder. So more likely than not, they were related. And before you think that's too gross, most of your friends are actually third and fourth cousins, believe it or not. So chances are you're going to marry a cousin of yours. No, I would never. All right, well, let's do this experiment real fast. How many of you guys know all of your great-grandparents' names? All the great-grandparents' names. All right, and so you got 8 of those. All right, so you have to know all 8 of your great-grandparents. Then you have to know all of their cousins. Then you have to be able to track down those cousins all the way down to their great-grandkids to be sure that you haven't married somebody as related to or more so than your fourth cousins. So that's probably what happened here. Can't say for sure. It might have been just totally unrelated whatsoever, but more likely than not, they were related. It's just way, way, way more likely. All right. Well, I hope that answers that question. So once again, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to me. If there's any topic you want me to post a video on, let me know, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.